Celtics, considering the myriad of changes that have taken place?
Well, for one, this is like maybe the third time. I haven't said I'm not playing this season.
Okay.
He was kind of looking at us sideways when we brought
you,
that up.
So
I'm thinking Achilles. All right,
no,
that's
for sure.
fair. That's fair.
The most important thing is a full recovery, being
Right.
100%.
That's right.
Not rushing.
Yeah, don't rush back.
At all.
Don't do that.
But also, I don't go to rehab 6 days a week for nothing.
All right, so that was Jayson Tatum sitting right over there telling us exactly what he intends to do. And I knew in that moment his return was inevitable, right? What I didn't know is that Jaylen Brown would hold down the fort and then some, become an MVP candidate, and position the Celtics as the second best team in the wide open East with only a short time to go now in the regular season. What I'm trying to say is that with Tatum back, the ceiling for this C's team is a championship? So with Tatum back tonight, as we ask everyone here at the table, does that now make Boston the team to beat in the East? Canty, what do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely think it makes Boston the team to beat in the East. I mean, with the Eastern Conference, you're talking about playing a game of spades, one in a possible when it comes to contenders, right? It's the Boston Celtics and then everybody else. People want to believe in the New York Knicks, but we don't know with new coach Mike Brown, and we never know when it comes to the motivation of Karl Anthony Towns and whether or not he's going to play with the kind of grit and physicality that they need him to. When you look at the Detroit Pistons, they're ahead of schedule when it comes to their development, and we already noted on this show earlier about how they're so reliant on the usage of Cade Cunningham and his shot creation on the offensive end. When you look at the other teams, the Cleveland Cavs with James Harden, that midseason trade, it feels like it would be a little bit quick for them to be able to go on a deep playoff run and represent the East in the NBA Finals. So the team that I land on is the team that's seemingly always been there over the last half decade, which is the Boston Celtics, and they're adding another reliable superstar in Jayson Tatum to a team that has already ascended to being a top 2 squad in the East in a year that everybody thought was going to be down.
Process of elimination to reach that point. In previous years, we can just look and we can say that's the team. We can point right to the team when we see it. The East is kind of wide open this year. I don't know if there's a team to beat. I certainly don't think it's them. And that's not meant to sound as disrespectful to them. But number one, superstar when healthy. I don't know if you get superstar Tatum this year. And that's fair. He's coming back from an Achilles. Can still be good, but I don't think we're going to see high end. What we miss in the conversation when we talk about Boston is that we're so focused on Brown and Tatum and how they're going to fit and how good a job Mazzulla's done. Al Horford's gone. Drew Holiday's gone. Kristaps Porzingis is gone. Porzingis didn't play much last year, but when you're talking about that title team from 2 years ago, those were 3 key cogs that are gone, and you have younger, more inexperienced players. Doesn't mean they can't get it done, but I think there are a lot more questions around Boston this year than there have been in years past.
I think the expectation for them to get to the finals, Canty, you're tripping. I would just say, I'm going to figure out a way to be nice. I can't be nice. You're tripping. It's not to say that they can't get there, but to call them the favorite assumes that Jayson Tatum comes back and he fits right in with this new group of players. Because like you said, this is not the veteran team.
The same system.
Whoop-de-damn-do. This is Hugo Gonzalez and all these other guys. These guys have not played high-level, high-stakes playoff basketball with expectations. It's easy to play regular season basketball when nobody knows your name and nobody thinks anything of you. They are past that point now. And if Jayson Tatum is not 90% of himself, 80% of himself is a good rebounder, a spot-up shooter, a guy who can facilitate offense around. But you're saying getting to the finals? That means they have to get by the team that beat them last year. The Knicks waxed them last year. Let's keep it a buck. The Knicks beat them twice on their home floor, coming down from 20-point deficits, and this is a better version of that team. Maybe not tougher, but they're better. They're a top 5 defense right now. They've been the number 1 defense since January 15th. I'm someone who's had a lot of critiques and doubts about the New York Knicks, but if they've shown me evidence, you have to begin to think of them differently and to automatically catapult the Boston Celtics above them when we don't even know what Jayson Tatum is going to look like, kind of disrespects the Knicks and everybody else who's put in the sweat equity through 60 games this season.
Well, me and Canty were picking out our green suits this morning. We decided we were going to agree on this. That was what we decided on. Because I'm with you. I think the Boston Celtics are the team to beat in the East. Because when you look at all these deficiencies that are around the rest of the teams, like you mentioned, there's no quick fixes to that. The deficiency that we've been talking about with the Celtics, they don't have Tatum. That's being fixed.
What Tatum are we getting?
They're not getting 30-point per game Tatum. They're not getting MVP level Tatum. But I don't think they need that.
No.
If I were putting up a blind resume for a team that is top 3 in offense, top 10 in defense over the course of a season, that maybe has coach of the year, has an MVP candidate, that plays well against all these other teams in the East. And I say, with 2 months left in the season, or a month and a half left in the season, they're going to add a role player who knows the system, who can get you 15 points, who may hit some game winners, who can rebound, who can play defense. Who says no to that? Nobody does. Like, we're not, there's no expectation that Jayson Tatum is going to have to come and save this Celtics team. He is additive in a way that means a ton, especially in the East. I know you're talking about how the Knicks and all these other teams, and they're not the Celtics that they were last year. I don't think you need to be the Celtics that you were when you won the championship, because the East is not as good as it was when the Celtics won the championship that year. So I feel like if you have that addition to that team, you should be fine as a Celtics squad.
One quick stat. They play well against the East. They're 1-3 against Detroit.
Well, Detroit's,
The Knicks are bad against Detroit, too. So
Yeah.
the Boston is good.
Well, Detroit
the
is
Knicks are
their
good
bully.
against
This is a
Boston.
different ball game.
Well, but also, as we discussed earlier, Detroit come playoff time is going to look a lot different than Detroit come regular season time.
No. I don't think they're going to look different come playoff time. I think everybody else around them looks different.
Right.
And it's just how much of an advantage is your playing hard, is your defensive disruption going to help you in the playoffs versus the regular season. That intimates that Detroit is a fraud. I don't think Detroit is a fraud. I think Detroit is just a little bit ahead of schedule, and I'm not going to dismiss them as far as what they can go, because these playoffs will be based off of matchups more than one team is better than the other. I don't think the Celtics with an unknown Tatum is better than everybody else. They're a question mark just like everybody else.
With the question mark, let's put it this way. Without Jayson Tatum, I think we could all agree, given the way the landscape of the entire NBA, they probably aren't winning a championship. With Jayson Tatum, we're all like, maybe. I mean, I don't know. We're going to see what kind of Jayson Tatum we're going to get.
I'm not saying.
You're still going hard, no way.
No, they're not. They're not going to win this
them
year.
great when the 2 years ago when they won the title is that they're a high variance 3-point shooting team, which some nights they will blow you out of the water and some nights they will struggle from three. Jaylen Brown is a ping pong player. Some nights he can't be stopped. Some nights he goes ice cold. The nights he went ice cold is where Tatum picked up the slack. And the nights where Tatum went cold is where Brown picked up the slack. That's what made them such a dynamic duo 2 years ago. This year, on the nights where Brown goes cold, and he'll go cold in the playoffs, your legs get tired, you're playing great defenses, there's familiarity. Is Tatum going to be able to rise to that level? And that's the concern coming off the end.
Brown has carried a heavy load this season without Jayson Tatum. How much gas will he have left in the tank?
He has carried a heavy load, but when he's been on the bench, the Celtics plus minus has actually been better when he's been on the bench. So there's been had players around him that have been able to build up that
Peyton
squad.
Pritchard to the bench has
That's helped
immensely.
Vucevic being a big, because they had no names as bigs. Like, that is going to help them come playoff time. Like, this team, I think we're shortchanging what this team has done and what they can do. The floor for Jayson Tatum. The floor for Jayson Tatum is double digits, good rebound, good defense. Like, we can at least admit that, and adding that to this type of team is going to be massive.
Yeah, and then also where you end up in the bracket is also going to matter too, right? Because you said it's so matchup specific in the Eastern Conference. Right now, the Celtics are in the 2 seed, right? I don't think anybody at this table, if we're saying Jayson Tatum in the Celtics rotation gets to the conference finals healthy against the Detroit Pistons, I don't think anybody at this table is taking the Detroit Pistons in that matchup. And I think that's the thing that I have to anchor on when it comes to the prospects of the Boston Celtics being able to get to the NBA Finals and being the team to beat. Their experience, especially with this core of players, that experience has to matter for something because of how basketball changes once we get to the postseason. And as we mentioned before, it feels like it's a little bit early for Detroit.
We're coming back to the heaviest month of the season where teams are playing 16, 17 games in 30 days. And then you're going to go to the sprint. And then you're going to ask Jayson Tatum to play every other day for 2 straight months, improve, not deal with fatigue, fit in with his new team, improve, defend, and then maybe get to the point by May 20th that he's the best version of himself. Do you know how many things have to go absolutely perfectly for that to happen? I ain't betting on perfect. I'm betting on equity.
Let me ask you. Who the hell you got winning the East?
That's what I want to know.
I can just tell you who ain't. I can just tell you who ain't. I can just tell you who ain't. I just tell you who ain't.
Pistons got to wait a couple years. The Celtics not going to win. The Knicks.
I ain't really believing in the Knicks.
Right. Somebody got to win the East.
I'm smart enough to know what I don't know. I'm smart enough not to back myself into a corner. But I will say, once again, what have me and Joe been saying all morning from get up to first take? It all depends on playoff matchups. If you tell me Detroit and the Knicks are in the conference finals, Detroit is beating them up. If you're telling me Detroit and Cleveland in the conference finals, I got questions. It all depends on matchups. If the Knicks are in the conference finals, the Knicks are the one team that has to go to the NBA Finals this year.
Yep.
They are built to go to the finals. They have the expectation and the desperation. We talked about San Antonio earlier. They don't have desperation. Desperation a lot of times wins out. The Knicks are desperate. Cleveland ain't even desperate. Everybody else is a little thirsty. That's all.
He ain't answer my question.
No,
I did.
Y'all hit it. Y'all did. It makes everybody else.
I did answer the question. I said the Knicks have to
Let's
go.
go really quick back to Jayson Tatum. That's what we started with here. Jayson Tatum coming back tonight for the Boston Celtics. He has never come off the bench before. I'm not saying that's what they intend to do, but there's a possibility that that happens. Joe, how do you think that the Boston Celtics are going to utilize Jayson Tatum tonight? Are we going to learn anything?
We'll learn that if he gets out of the game without an injury, we learn that we're one step in. That's it. I think you are not playing here to chase down the number one seed. You're not playing here for anything other than mentally and psychologically getting him comfortable, getting back into a rhythm. Player prop tonight, 13.5 points. I bet under. Rebound prop tonight, 4.5. I bet under. Assists, 2.5. I bet over. I think he defers. I think you bring the ball up the court, you get comfortable being out there, you look to pass. Derek White's going to be wide open tonight with Brown and Tatum both on the floor. I look for him to knock down threes, but ultimately, how many minutes do you want him out there? Like, what are you ultimately trying to prove if you're Boston? You just want him getting his feet wet, and then in a few nights he gets his feet wet again, so that by the time you get to the playoffs, he's ready to play.
He just gave you a few player props, too. Look at that. We
go.
do gambling, we do debates, we do everything on this show. Let's go to a quick take really quick. This one's for you, Dee Dee. Trae Young debuted for the Washington Wizards